2, 3. Faith Hill, Devontae Culpepper, Bill Clinton, and Dave Thomas. What do you think they all have in common? Adoption. Adoption means assuming the responsibilities of parenting and caretaking of a child from their original and biological parent. Adoption dates back to the Babylonian culture, the ancient Rome. You can see adoption in the Code of Hammurabi. Code of Hammurabi is an ancient Babylonian code that explained the rights of the adopter and the adoptee. Adoption started during the Roman times, so it's not only a modern day thing, but it started in the history. Many of the Roman emperors were adopted sons. They were adopted to create and strengthen the political hegemony of the Roman Empire. But infant adoption, even though most Roman emperors were adopted, infant adoption was rare. Most infants that were left abandoned, they were either sold into slavery or they worked in artisans or worked for the slaves. However, China and India and the Asian cultures weren't so focused on expanding their bloodlines or the political hegemony. Rather, they focused on expanding their cultural and political and religious, their cultural and their religious practices. So this was during the ancient Roman times, but in the Middle Ages, after the fall of the Roman Empire, other empires like the Slavic, the Germanic, they all abandoned this practice. They believed bloodlines were paramount. So if you adopted and you carried that person to be your emperor, that was abolished. That wasn't recognized. Instead of adoption, apprenticeship was more common. So instead of adopting and giving them your family name, you were made an apprentice of that person. Boys went into artisan, and girls were married off into that caretaker. Now, in the modern period, adoption is more common. We adopt to create a family. It's a common practice now. However, in the mid-60s and starting in the 40s all the way up until 60s, it wasn't so fondly looked upon. A lot of eugenics where you wanted the perfect baby. Again, it went back to creating a perfect bloodline. That sort of halted it again. But after World War II, it peaked up again because illegitimate kids were being born and adoption peaked in the 1970s in the U.S. Now, contemporary adoption, we have two kinds of adoption in the U.S. There is an open adoption where the biological parent and the adopting parents, they both know about adoption and they are very open with the kids, and it's a very good process. It lets the kid have both a biological and an adopting parent. And there's also closed adoption where the information, where you seal off all the identifying information about the adopting parents. So there is no communication between the biological parents or the adopting parents. Basically, why a lot of adoption happens is because a lot of the mothers who adopt, they suffer from infertility. And, it's a really bad, it puts a bad taste in their mouth, and they can't continue on to have a family, so they look for the next best thing, which is adopting. A lot of times, though, adoption doesn't go through because they choose to end it before they finalize it. Some of the statistics, adoption has grown in popularity from 1950s to present. New York, Michigan, Maryland, Oregon, and Kansas are some of the leading states that are very ahead right now in adoption, and Texas and Pennsylvania are the lowest. Well, you can talk about that in terms of political and their geographical location. The international adoption has grew since the 1990s. Mainly in China, Russia, and Guatemala are the popular countries that a lot of U.S. parents go to adopt for. Well, my speech, why should we adopt? Becoming a parent is one of the best things that can happen to any couple. So becoming a parent is something that everybody looks forward to. Adoption really benefits the birth mother. For example, if you are carrying a child, you don't have time to give it proper care, nutrition, education, financial resources, it's better to give it up for adoption because it gives the birth mother a second chance at receiving an education, fulfilling their own goals, and it also gives the baby a second chance into a better life than it would have had it been with the birth mother. Adopting, it provides a better life for the child. Otherwise that child would be left abandoned in a foster care, in a group home where you have to share. You never call anything your own. Adopting also gives them a safer household and loving parents. You It gives them a chance to attend college. That child has two parents that love him. So these are some of the reasons why you should adopt. You should think of adopting to give that kid a second chance to life. And what better than to adopt and become parents? And in our culture, in the U.S. the culture, the famous social culture, we have some of the most popular people like Faith Hill, Devontae Culpepper, Bill Clinton, Dave Thomas, Jesse Jackson, Snooki. They're all adopted, and they've all gone on to become successful singer, professional football player, founder of Wendy's, and even a former U.S. president. So adoption is always a good thing. Again, adoption is giving somebody a second chance to life. It also fulfills your deepest desire to becoming, and the satisfaction of becoming a parent. And also as humans, we have this moral and human responsibility towards our race. So why not adopt? Thank you.